Alright, this is my fourth week here in the Phoenix area. A big reason why I decided to move to Phoenix was how well received I was here last year for being solosexual. And I continue to be accepted for being solosexual at work. Over in Seattle, a lot of people just think that because, well, there are two camps of people, right? Some people think that I have nobody to take care of, and so what's the big deal? At my workplace, I would get the most rotten of schedules. I would have split schedules. I would have days in weeks that would a week that would otherwise have no work, that my boss would conveniently schedule a Wednesday, so I couldn't even go away. Or I would get all the nastiest of tasks at work. Or my voice wouldn't be heard wouldn't be as well received as the other people, right? So, for example, if I complained about something, I have allergies, and sometimes I have to walk away from or social distance from people who are eating at the desk, or maybe they have a very strong fragrance, and I have to social distance from people. That doesn't get very well received. Meanwhile, other people can complain about little ticks, like, for example, maybe they don't like something that I'm wearing, or some lifestyle issues. You get the idea, right? It was imbalanced. I didn't get that kind of treatment here in the Phoenix area. Now, prior to the pandemic, I really wanted to move out of the country. And I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, I kept kicking myself that I didn't happen to go somewhere when the pandemic happened and be able to ride out the pandemic in another country. And the reason for that is that, you see, here in the United States, every time you watch some high-profile person, they have to be married. Or we've only had one U.S. president who was single while he was president, right? James Buchanan. I hope that will change in the near future. Go watch any high-profile celebrity. They're always married, right? And then I see in other countries it's not so true. One country I was thinking about relocating to was obviously Poland. And the second place winner of Polish Idol Season 1, Ewelina Falenta, she has a big career without ever having to mess around with anybody. I suspect she's still a virgin. She's never openly dated anybody, and that goes just fine in Poland. That would never work. That would never work here in the United States. In fact, she's done better than her opponent, who has a more traditional life, had gotten married, had a child, and unfortunately, her career has just fizzled out, right? Meanwhile, Ewelina Falenta, she's still going on world tours, and she was making a lot of noise about the situation in Ukraine. That would never go here in the United States. And so this month, October 24th is her birthday. I'm thinking if we can get a bunch of solosexuals to all go on a strike together, right? So this past year has been marked, obviously, by the Great Resignation. A few years ago, there were a number of days when a lot of people walked out of their fast food jobs. One thing I really, really hate, and I gotta put hate in capital letters, is that all this talk is about money, 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 money. I want people to strike for good working conditions. I really do. I want people to strike in order for equality. I really do. So, for example, I'm a little bit nervous about asking for a day off next month for a lunar eclipse. It's in November. It's going to be a late night eclipse, actually, starting around 1 a.m. till the next morning. And I hope to get the next day, maybe even the next 2 days off to be able to recover from that. But I know that when my boss hears that, see, we need a policy that employers should not be allowed to ask employees what they're doing on their free time. I really despise it. Even to this day here in Phoenix, when my boss casually asks me, "What are you doing this weekend?" It just opens the can of worms to the idea that maybe I'll say something that my boss doesn't like, right? See, employment and relationships can be really tricky, right? When I go buy coins at the coin shop, when I buy a car, or even when I get mechanical work done on my car, I know the person sitting across the desk from me is an adversary, right? And I know that maybe it's not a great idea to talk about what I'm doing this weekend, because if the political views are not right, or I accidentally let out something about my personal finances or my lifestyle, that's not going to work to my advantage, right? Everything you say to that coin dealer can be used against you, right? Everybody knows that, right? When I go play games at a board game meetup, right, one of my favorite games is Uno All Wild. When I go play that at a board game meetup, I know the person across from the table is a friend, right? I don't, we take it in stride whether we win or lose, right? But when I speak to my boss or a coworker, it's kind of a hybrid of those two, right? It makes it really confusing, right? Anyway, walk out of your job on October 24th and explain that singles have or solo sexuals have things that they're romantically connected to as well, and then go to your favorite date, right? If we all did that, right, the tables would quickly turn, right?